Welcome to this webinar. We're going to be talking about KnowItAll on this one, and this webinar is going to deal with the setup and the history and stuff like that of KnowItAll. Yes, although it's being recorded, go ahead and ask any questions that you want to as we go through. Enter it into the question answer portion, and then I will try to get to them as I'm talking. So first off, I'm going to talk about a short history of where KnowItAll came from, because I think it gives you a good idea of what it's trying to do. Where KnowItAll came from was in our company. I've studied a lot on the I like to study different business books, and one of the business books that really struck a chord with me was called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, and I highly recommend that to you all to get that. And I can actually type that in here right now. It's called The E-Myth, and it's by Michael Gerber, like the baby food. And I'll just send that out to everybody so you have it. And that book, it's also E-Myth Revisited, and there's a whole bunch of different versions of it. If you can get the old E-Myth, I think that one's the best one. It's just called the E-Myth, that's all it is. And what it tells, what I learned from that book, it says a lot of different things, but what I learned from that book is that you needed to try to look at your business as a money-making machine that you could walk away from. And I have a couple of presentations on beach management and things like that, which are along the same lines. And I just, it kind of struck a chord, and I thought, okay, how can I build my business so that it doesn't rely on me? How can I build my business so that I can walk away from it, and I don't need to be here constantly to answer questions? And of course, we all have our. At first, I thought it was a cool thing to have a cell phone and have to carry it. I felt like a doctor or something. And then as I got more and more into business years ago, I figured out that I'd rather not carry a cell phone. I'd rather not be that tied. It's just a tie that's pulling you back. So that the cell phone was something that tied me back to it, and I couldn't get away from my company. So if I can't get away from my company, then I'll never be able to take a vacation. I'll never be able to get time off. And you yourself have to ask yourself, how tied am I to my company? Can I get away from it, or am I tied to here and I have no way of getting out of here? Roger is asking a question. Says, if I'm using a demo and do things today, I would like to keep. Will I lose it when I upgrade? No, Roger, you won't. You won't lose it. You can continue with your demo. It's when you upgrade, all the information will stay there. So what I said is I thought I needed an information management system, something that would be easy for people to get. And so we came up with KnowItAll little by little. I actually tried a bunch of different information management systems, and all of them had one thing in common, and that is that they all worked on the basis of a tree. So you had either a folder and then subfolder, sub-subfolder, sub-sub-subfolders down the line, where that's probably the way, if you're not using KnowItAll, that's probably the way you've got your systems right now. You've got your systems configured. If I look on our iDrive, for example, I'll see something similar to that. Let's change this to details, and you'll see what I mean. We have articles, and then under articles, well, we only have one, but under these things you can see that we have different subfolders, and then under the subfolders we have subfolders, and you just go on and on and on, and that's how you can do it. For example, we open this one. This one's always just a few. But it's hard to find stuff back. When you put it there, it seems like it's so logical and it fits so well, but when you come back to it even an hour later, you're trying to think, okay, what did I name it? Where did I put it? How this and how that? So in thinking about this, it came to mind that what is out there that already exists, because the best thing you can do is copy from somebody. So what's out there that already exists that works really great at this? And I thought, well, the thing that's out there that works really well is Google. And then I started asking myself, and there's a principle in business, if you ask why, I think it's 4 times, you'll actually get the truth. So the first thing is I said, why do people like Google? And the answer was because it's easy. And my next question was, why is Google easy? That was a little bit harder to answer, but I think I thought about it for a while, and I came up with the answer. Well, Google's easy because it uses keywords. Then their next why was, why are keywords easy? You see how you just build one why onto the next. And the answer to that is, why are keywords easy, was It took me a little while to figure that one out, but I thought it's because it's biological. If I say Mexico, I was raised there. My parents were missionaries in Mexico. So Mexico means a whole lot of things to me. It has pictures in my brain. I've got different things. For you, you might have just come back from a vacation in Cancun, or you might be thinking about the current news about Mexico being, the drug lords fighting it out and all this other stuff. So, but basically that one word ties a lot of different things. So I thought, okay, it's keywords. Keywords is where I've got to go. So that's what we actually ended up doing, is we just created this as keywords, and you can find all of your information in KnowItAll using keywords. So let's start out and let's say I wanted to figure out how to enter a check. Remember, the point of this is to get me out of the business so I don't have to be there anymore. So if I type enter check as keywords, right, that would be normal. I get an article. Each one of these is called an article, and I can open it. And it says, how do I enter checks and do a deposit? Well, look, notice that this says see attached manual. So we actually have a document. This is just a plain old Word document, nothing more than that. But it's attached here, so it makes it very easy for me to find it and to remember what it's called. I wouldn't know that it was called deposit.doc. I have no idea. But if I open it, if I double click on it, then what KnowItAll does is it calls to Windows and it says, hey, open this file. And when I open the file, here it is. Here's the information. And by the way, the KnowItAll that we're using right now for most of our illustrations is the KnowItAll from our Clip Lawn Care. So Jonathan actually took the time to take pictures of the different things and to take screenshots of them and put them into a document here which tells somebody new how to enter checks. So if we have a new person coming in to our company and we say, can you enter the checks into Clip, she or he is going to say, well, how do I do that? And your answer is going to be look it up in KnowItAll, and it'll be there. If something here changes, I can just type it right here and hit save, and I'm done, and it's changed. And I know that it's always going to be the right one. Everybody's always going to be hitting the same one. So that's an example of what we can do. Let's look for something else. Let's say how to send a text message. So send message, and here it is. It's how do we send a text message, and it tells you where to link, how to do it, etc., how to send a text message to the phones. So again, all I have to do is tell a brand new employee, hey, send a text message to so-and-so, and you'll get it. You get the idea. The idea here is that when we want to finish up, we want to take anything that we researched and drop it into an article so that it's easy to retrieve. Let's say access the voicemail. So access voice. Okay, that didn't have it, but if we type in voicemail, how do we access Clip Lawn Care voicemail? So I type in there. It says from any phone extension, type 436. Type your pound sign, enter your mailbox, etc., and you get the password. And this is how you're able to access the voicemail in Clip. Again, how easy was that for me to find? And I don't even, I mean, I'm going off a paper that I wrote a while back on these things in Clip Lawn Care, but basically I don't need to know much about this. Now, here's interesting. This is what I do whenever I didn't find it. The first time through, I didn't find it, right? So I had these words as my keywords, access voice. So if I look in here, voices here is a keyword, but access is not. So I'm going to add that, access, because I used that. So it's natural to me, at least, that I'm looking for access. So I'm going to put that in, and I hit save. I've modified the article. That's how easy it is to modify it. Now, the next time I actually ask for this access voice, now it's going to come up the way I want it. So I always recommend to my employees, as you're using KnowItAll, if you don't find it on the first one, then go back after you have found it, go back and add the keywords that you initially used. And that way it gets better and better and better. Again, if you have any questions, just type them into the question and answer place, and I will seek to answer them. Another thing I want to look at is something that I did for my own house, and I'll say water shutoff. So, and I have this in here in our even though it doesn't have to do with our company, it has to do with my home. But this is the type of thing. So for winterizing my home, up here in the north, you have to turn your faucets off. I created a document. In the document says exactly how and where all these shutoff things are. So do you understand from your point of view where you could use this to create documents that showed your employees exactly how to do something? So you would never ever have to wonder, okay, how did I do this, or how is this done? This is the right way to do it, and you never have to worry about that. So I hope you're getting a feeling for the type of things. Let's say prune a tree, right? Prune a tree. And here's an article that Jonathan found that he thought was a good article on pruning a tree, and he says here's a website on where to do it as well. So this information is right here. Again, I just double click on the document, it brings it up, and now I can show you how to prune a tree. Again, this is just information that I found at some point in time, and I decided I want to keep it. I decided I want it to be around. And so that's how I find it all. That's sort of documents and how-to stuff, but there's more to KnowItAll than that, than just how-tos and documents and junk. The other thing would be things like just miscellaneous thoughts that I have that I want to put in. So if I type plans 2007, for example, I know this is old, but we should do, this is how do I improve? So what do we do to improve ourselves, to get it better? And then what I can do is I can modify this as time goes on, and I can continue to update it, and I can say, okay, this is what I need to do better next year. This is what I need to do, etc. I could have plans for 2009 April, because things that I learned last April, I might want to remember this April to remember what to do. So that's the type of thing. I can also keep track of things like vendors. Who do we purchase these different things from? What's their phone number? How do I get a hold of them? Who's the guy that I talk to when I call over there? What's their email address? What's their latest pricing? Etc. All this information that I can just have in there, and I can pull it up anytime I want to figure out what I want to do and how I want to buy different things. That's the vendors. How about the employee H2B? How do we process H2B? Okay, I didn't get it by employee. Let's just do H2B. So who have we used for H2B program? So again, it's just notes for myself. Now I only use this once a year, but when I do need it, I need it, and I need it bad. And I don't want to be going back to my little notes or the stuff on my paper or something like that, trying to figure out how to do this. So that's part of the H2B that you would find. Basically just dumping your brain into all these different things and how to do it, like drug and safety classes for people that need to get a license, a driver's license. Well, where do we go for that? And you can see how fast we can take this, how fast somebody can adapt to the new product or to the new situation that's out there, because all the information is so quick and so easy to be there. If I read a book, I might want to put in notes about that book that say, this is what I learned from the book, and these are the business lessons that I want to know from this book. And so many times we read a book, or we hear a good idea, or we hear a good thought, and then it's just gone. It's gone within minutes if you don't write it down or you don't do something like it. So anyway, employee manuals, that's another place where you would put things. Employee manual. So here's our employee manuals, English and Spanish. Now this, we attached a folder. So if I open this, what it does is it actually puts me on that folder. So that's how I can have one article that refers to various things. But these are in the employee manual, and they're in this folder. Again, I don't have to remember where are they, where did I put them, are they on the I drive, the W drive, the whatever. They're right there. And so that's an easy way for me to keep track of these employee manuals. You can also tie in Excel sheets or something like that. So if we tie in flyer, for example, and where's the flyer tracking for 2006? And again, are we doing better? Anthony asked me before, says, how's your $20 special doing? Well, I wouldn't be able to answer that unless I could open this up and I could keep track of it and know what's going on. And in this case, I have here how many flyers everybody put out, what zones they were done in. Well, that's kind of blank, but and then my response rate is what percentage I'm getting back on these, how many specials we've done, what the response rate, etc. And all this information is in an Excel sheet, but it's very easy and very fast for me to come up with, and it doesn't take me any time at all to remember where it is. I hope you're getting a feel for this as to what it is. No, I don't want to do that. So that's the kind of information that you can hold in KnowItAll. On top of that, you can also hold things that are scanned in there. We were talking about a scanner a little bit earlier. So for example, here's one. It's order from SOS for flyers. So this will be an invoice, and we have scanned it in. So we have the order. We've got exactly what we paid for it. We've got the information, what it looked like, etc. So this is so easy to get into KnowItAll. The way you get a scanned document into KnowItAll is you just click on this button, and you can have any scanner hooked up to this at all, because as long as the scanner communicates with the software, which is it uses this thing called Twain as your back-end communication, but all scanners nowadays, all modern scanners use Twain. So we can access it by just clicking on here, and it says, okay, where's the scanner? And if you scan it to a PDF, you can scan it to a JPEG, you can scan it to a TIFF or to a PDF. If you scan it to a PDF, then you can add pages to it, and you can add more pages afterwards, so the second, third, fourth pages on it. Vidal has a question here. Says, is this webinar going to be on the CLIP website? Yes, it will be. In fact, there's one similar to it already there, but this new one will be there. Another one, David asks, are there levels of security for sensitive or confidential? Yes, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Actually, it's one of our next things, but our next one is going to be, how does the information get in there? Okay, now I've told you some of the types of information that you can hold in KnowItAll. Now the question is going to be, how do we get that information into it? Well, the simplest and fastest way is you just click on this button right here that says Add. This is for Add a New Article, and you get a blank article, and you can put in whatever information you want. In this case, I'm going to put in test and webinar, because that's what it is, and then I could put in the question. This is a test, and here I can put in, this is the answer, and I'm done. I hit save, and it's finished. So now can I get that information back out? And the question will be, I put in test and webinar, and there it is. Notice that I don't have to type the whole word webinar. I can just type as many letters as I think it's necessary for it to come up for. For example, if I type WEB, I'm going to get a lot, because it's any place that it finds WEB. But there is my test right here. This is my test, and I can double click to open it, and now I have the answer. The information is already in there. So that was really, really easy for it to get the information into the system. Roger asks, is there any way to share it over the internet with others that are not in the office? Yeah, and we'll get to that. There's a couple different ways that you can do that to share this information. But so that's one way to do it. Now let's say that I find this information right here, but I want to add something that's very similar to this. It has similar keywords in it, similar things that are going on, but it's going to be a little bit different, slightly different. So the same but different kind of thing. Well, again, to save you typing, you click on this button right here called Add a Copy, and what that does is that makes a copy of your current one into a new one. And notice it is a copy because you have entered the new information here. So we'll get rid of that, and this is the answer, and we'll put in number 2, right? And this is test number 2. So now I save that, and now when I hit this, I have 2 copies. So I have test 1 and test 2. So that's an easy way for you to add. That's how you start to add information into your documents. How else do I add information into the documents? Well, there's another way, which is you can just drag and drop anything you want to. So let's see how that works. What I can do is this, is I go in here, and let's find a file, and here's a text document called Easy Twain. Okay, so that's a document that has to do with tying back and forth to the scanners. So let's say I wanted to keep this, and it could be anywhere. So I could go into the Documents folder right here and grab anything. It can be anything. It really doesn't matter what the file is. I grab the file, and I drag it onto this button. Remember, that's the button to add an article. So I just drag it onto there and I drop it. And what it does is it creates, see, it creates a new folder for me, and a new article. And it actually puts in some keywords, which are based on the name of the file and the type of file and stuff like that. And it puts in here, where is easytwain.log, and it says see attached, and it's got it attached, and it's there ready for me. So I can very easily just go around to my computer from here and just grab and drag and drop files into KnowItAll that I don't want to forget. Excel files, folders, etc. Things that you want to pull in there. So that's another way you can do it. Now let's talk about another way. Let's go back to this test. And notice that it doesn't really matter if they're close to each other or anything. As long as there's at least one space in between them, it's going to be there. So let's go into test 2, and let's say that this is going to be test 2, and this is going to be an Excel sheet. This is how I type. This is how I start Excel sheets. This is how I start PowerPoint presentations. This is how I start all these kind of things. Vidal has a question. Says all those spaces at the top of the keywords are used. That for each individual keyword related to the question. That's actually just a way for you to organize yourself, but all you need is a space between keywords. So this test space webinar is the same as if I put test here and webinar here. So it just is easier than just having one long text line where you type in all your keywords. Some people in their mind have organized, the first box is for this, the second box. It really has no bearing on how the product works. The product will work anyway. So anyway, this is a test 2 Excel sheet, right? We already said. So what we do here is we click on this right here, and then I think we can make this a little bit bigger. All right. And then we click on this and we say, what do we want to create? And we want to create an Excel sheet. So if I say this, create now, what it's going to do is it's going to actually create the Excel sheet and put me on it. And it's already saved it. It's already put it together. So if I go back to here, I can see it's already named it. And it named it based on my serial number plus the sequence number of the article. But the name really doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference. And so here I put in, webinar Excel sheet. And I create my Excel sheet, and I type in all these numbers, and I do all this kind of stuff. And then I just hit exit. It says, do you want to save? I say yes. And here it is. I save this. I go there, and I want to find it. It's there. I double click. It opens it up, puts me right on it. And there it is, webinar Excel sheet. So it's telling me that my antivirus got in the way there. But I'm here, and I can type it in, and I can do anything I want. This is so much better, so much better for trying to create documents and Word files and all these other things that you just want to create, and you don't. Basically, anyway, it works so much nicer. And I never have to worry about where did I go, where is it, how am I going to find it, what did I name it, how did I do this, and how did I do that. So that's the other way to handle this. Now let's address the question of security. How do you secure information? Well, yes, you can secure information in here. And what you do is you go to this one, to the security, and you say, for example, I say clear all, and I say, okay, Dave is the only one that's allowed to see this article. And what will happen is if I don't allow myself to see the article, if admin or Jonathan is the only one allowed to see the article, then what happens is when he types in test webinar, he won't see this article, and it'll just say no articles found, if that's what it is. So you can keep detailed or secure information based on that. And if I say I'm the only one and I hit process and return, then as soon as I hit save, this turns red to tell me that this is a secure article, and so other people can't have it. Ken is asking a question. Says, how many attachments can you have to each article? That's a very good question, Ken. And the answer is two different ways. Is one way, yes, you can attach various ones by putting them into a folder and attaching the folder. The other thing is it's a different mentality. Think about it. If you're thinking about, oh, I want to have 3 different attachments attached to this article, you're starting to think back to the old way of thinking, which is that I have one category, and then I have subcategories under that. What I highly recommend, and the way we handle it here, and what we found out over the years has been so much better. For example, let's see, quick start manual. Let's see what we pull up with this. There's got to be a bunch of them. Okay, but we have the quick start manual, for example, like this one, Programs and Routes PDF, and this one is a quick start manual doc. And so we just separated into two different articles because there are actually two different functions for this, particularly when we get to the point of me showing you how you can email stuff out of here. That's going to be important because I might want to email somebody the PDF, but I probably don't want to email them the doc. And I want to modify the document, but I don't want to modify the PDF. And so I highly recommend that you do what the term we've used around here is granularize your information. Make it into very small little snippets of information because you can always find them by using keywords. But you can, like I said before, is with this with the manual. We looked that up a little bit ago. So let's see if that's in here. Employee manual. You can see how this worked. This is English and Spanish. And what we did is we connected it via the folder, so you can double click on that and you have two of them and they're both connected to the article. So you can do it that way, but I don't recommend doing it that way. So let's go back to this, and we're back to this. So that's how I can secure, going back to that, how do you secure the information? And that's how you can secure the information. Here's another interesting, very interesting button, which is how do I get Kia to remind me? And that's click to notify. And what we can do here is we can put in today's date, for example, and then I can say I want to review it on this date. And that means that as soon as I come in and it senses that I'm me, and that's based on username and password, it senses that Dave is the one that's here. It's going to flash up with a reminder to me right away that says, hey, you said you wanted to review this article on this time. So I would be able to review this. And this could be even something as simple as an employee review. It could be something that you think, well, this is useful information for today, but by 6 months from now, it's not going to be useful anymore. So I would set it for review so that I'm able to delete the article if I want to, whatever. So that's how you use that review. Now notice the other things we have is we have on modify and on delete. So I might want to be told if somebody else modifies this article. So if this article gets modified and somebody hits the save button, it triggers a notice to come up to me to say, hey, this article was changed and you said you wanted to know about it. What I use that for is we have a sales force, and so if let's say we change the pricing structure, we change some price or something that has to do with sales, I would have all my salespeople checked off here so that as soon as I hit save, everybody is going to get an updated article statement in my company that's going to say, hey, this article was changed. Make sure you see it. Again, it just makes things so much faster and so much easier. So that's what I would do. That's one of the ways that I can use this. So that's the click to notify. As we started using this more and more, we found out that what we really needed to do is we needed to treat information. There is a different kind of information that needs to be treated. Okay, Catherine has a question. Let me get to this here. If I share the article with person A, can they change the security level to share it with B? Only if they're allowed to. And I know that sounds kind of backwards, but let me show you the security portions of it. So if I go to System here and I go to User Setup, each user then has different options right here. And you can allow them right here to modify article permissions. So if person A doesn't have this permission to modify the article permissions, they aren't allowed to share it with person B. They can't do that. So you can tie people down very, very tightly if that's what you want to, as to what they can and can't do. And each user has these options. So I hope that answers your question. Let's go back to this. So let's talk about the contact information. Well, let's use this as a contact information. I found out as the more we used it, we figured out that contact information is different from other types of information. And at first we tried to fit it into this mold, and it didn't really work that much. But that's why you have this right here, this button, to do contact. If I click on that, it creates this whole section over here that allows me to enter somebody's name. So if I put in Dave Tucker here, then it starts filling it out. And I can put in all this information for home, emails. My email is dave@click.com. and I can put my information in there, and I can even put a picture of myself if I felt like it and put a caption underneath what it is. I can scan the picture in directly from here, or I can attach it if my picture already exists somewhere else. Well, let's attach it. Why not? I know I have a picture of me on the okay, now I gotta, I shouldn't have done this because now I gotta think about where it's going to be. But I think it's in the SSI stuff. Actually, I could find it very easily by just typing it into our other KnowItAll. I'm pretty sure it's here, and it's called Dave. And that's a JPEG, so we'll just attach that, and there it is. And now I put the guy under there, and I say Dave Tucker, and there it is. And so now my email is there, and my thing is there. So that's how you can keep track of pictures, also of contacts if you want to. And so you have pictures, you have all the contact information. This also allows you to do some mass emailing out of here. So if I save this, now that it's a contact, I can go up here and I can say I want to do a mass email out to everybody that's in my contact. And that would bring up here, and I say check all, and then I could send this email address out to everybody right there. So that's how you can use this to do some massive emailings as well. Now obviously I'd have to change the name of this, say Dave Tucker, and then here I could have notes, notes about my conversations, etc. And all that information can go in here, and you can then keep track of it. Let me get to a couple of questions. There have been a couple. Can this integrate with Outlook contacts? Yes, very easily. And we can actually import and export into Outlook. So if you go to import functions, you have import your contacts from Outlook right there, or import them from a file if you want to. You can import files. Also, one of the other ways that I didn't tell you on how to add files is you can go into here, and if you pick a, let's change our thing to the iDrive, because the iDrive has a lot of documents on it. And let's say I went to Craig and I select that. Well, it shows me now all the documents that are in that folder, and I can say I want to bring these in, and it will actually bring them all into KnowItAll and create an article for each one of them. So it's a quick way, and you can add keywords right here as to what you want to do. That's a quick way for you to add information, just another way to add information into it. Can I separate contacts between lawn customers, landscape customers, and floral customers? Sure you can, Chris. And the way you would do that is you would just put in here, let's say I am a lawn maintenance. So you put lawn, and that's one of my keywords. So now I could say also that I'm a customer. And it really doesn't matter where you put these, but I by nature order things around. I'm an orderly kind of person with the information. I'm not orderly with my office. My office is a mess, but I'm orderly with information. So now if I type in here contact and lawn, customer and lawn. See, I didn't even use the right thing. So I say customer and lawn. Then these are the ones that are going to show up, and here it is, Dave Tucker. And then based on whatever you're seeing here, you can then go into here, and you can create the email that'll go just to these customers. So there's a lot of power here when you start to use keywords, and you start to just think, okay, if I create a keyword, it automatically created a subset or a group that then I can deal with and I can work with. So there's a lot of ways to keep the contact information in there. Okay, my next question is, can I send information out of Kia? And the answer to that is, oh yeah, it's so easy. You just click on this button right here that says email, and you type in the customer's email address, dave@clip.com, and then you hit send, and it sends this information. It's all there. If you had an attachment, then it would send the attachment right here. It's sending me all this information. But if I had for example, like I said before about the PDF or the Excel sheet, if I wanted to find the webinar test, and then this Excel sheet, let's say I wanted to send this Excel sheet to somebody, I just hit email, I type in their email address, or I can pull it from their contacts, and right here is Dave Tucker, so I can click on that, and I hit return, and then it remembers it for me. So again, I don't have to remember it. I can also pull them from Outlook if I want to, or I want to send it to my own users of the system, which would be inter-office type thing. I can do that. So all that is done here, and you just hit send to email, and it takes off, and it goes. And it sent the Excel sheet for their review. So that's so many. That's pretty easy. My next question, any question? No. My next question about this would be, so how do I get my employees to enter questions without answers? And that is really cool, because if I go in here and I say there is no answer to this, let's say this is a question I had. So let's say now I'm one of the front office people, and I have a question and I don't have any answer for it. Well, I hit save. You should always put something in the solution, of course, but I'm going to say no. Well, of course I have the attached here. Let's just create a new one, because it's saying, hey, you've got something attached to it and you ought to do this. So let's create a new folder, and our new article, we say test webinar unanswered. Okay, and then in here we say, what is the name of the vendor? And obviously this is a little bit cryptic, but it's just for example. And so I put that in, and notice that it shows up in red. And what happens is when we first come into the product in the morning and you first open it up, all of your unanswered questions are going to show up at the top, and they're going to show up in red. And that says, okay, we need to answer these. For example, this one, we're looking for the Ford 97 F-150 purchase receipt. Well, it is attached, so this one is wrong. It needs to be there. But what is the name of the vendor? There it is. And so as a manager, whenever we open up KnowItAll in the morning and we see these red ones, then we try to answer them as best we can. And that keeps the information flowing, and that keeps people from coming to us and asking us or calling us on a cell phone or something like that to bother us to say, what is this? So that's how your employees will automatically start modifying the product and keep it going. So it's a great tool when you get them to do that. So my next question on this list, and I'm just going through a bunch of questions, is if we have these contacts, for example, like Dave Tucker in here, that's a graduation picture for my son. All right, yeah, that's because it's under webinar test. Okay, so if we have this in this contact, and I should actually put the name in here so that I can bring it up by just typing my name. If we have this context here, that or this, what prevents us from actually creating a picture directory of all of our people? And we've had a lot of churches have been using KnowItAll in order to create picture directories, and they put the information here for the home, etc. And then you go over here and you say print, and we say directory, and we can say home to copy, and what that will do is that will print out a little directory with pictures on it, and you put your report title here. So there's a lot of different things that you can report out of KnowItAll, I'm sorry, as well. So that's another thing to do that. So that's how you can use this as a directory. There's another aspect to this, and it's called publishing. And Clip Lawn Care is not allowed to publish, so we're going to go in here, and we're going to pick up. This is a quick start guide that I made up last week, is how to use the Clip Master Customers. Well, I can publish that by clicking on this button right here if I have rights to publish, which only a few people do, but they have rights to publish, and what that will do is that will send the information out to a specified group of KnowItAll users. And this specified group in this case could be the Clip users. So people that are using our Clip software and are also using KnowItAll would get this information. If you're in a church and you're doing a pictorial directory or something, when somebody has a change of email address or something like that, you could publish it out, and everybody that was part of that group called XYZ Church would then get that information. So that's just another aspect that we have. Now there's another thing. Let's go back to this version. There's a field right here called location. And you're saying, okay, what is that for? Well, everything has its reason, right? So if we go back to the illustration that we had about the fish in the book, so you read a book, you get some information, you might want to keep track of where is that book. So you can say the bookshelf by John's desk. So that tells me where the book is at least supposed to be. And you can do that for files, you can do that for original documents, you could even do it for keys or for any kind of thing that you think, okay, I want to remember that I got this. I told you all that I got a new computer. Well, it has a couple of special wires that are just for it, special plugs. And so I put those in my drawer. And what I did is I created a KnowItAll article that has where is the wires for the Dell XP machine. And I say it's in such and such a drawer because chances are I'm going to forget where that is later on when I actually need those wires. So you can use this location to do lots of different things, and you can actually report on the location, and you can do a search by location. So there's more ways that you can search here. If you go into here, and you can search all these different places, including search here for location, and that will look for any word that's in that location field. Another question. Let's see. It's maybe a crazy question, but how do we start? How do we start our questions for KnowItAll? Silva, not sure what you're asking. How do you start your questions? You just how do you just add an article? Just start with the next one. It's like we said. You use this button right here. Add a new article, and it starts you going right there. Okay, how do I start a document? I think I already showed you how to do that. So if you start putting all this information into KnowItAll, it's pretty useful, and it's going to be pretty crucial to working with your KnowItAll. And it's going to be crucial that you keep backups, keep very, very good backups of your KnowItAll. But remember, KnowItAll itself doesn't. Some people ask, well, how much space does this take? KnowItAll doesn't really take all that much space because remember, it's just an index. More than anything, it's just an index. It's just remembering where things are on your system. Let's see. Ken asks, business cards, can I scan them? Sure, you can scan business cards. In fact, if I type in here newspaper, for example, I think I should be able to get what I'm looking for. So I have a lot of different things, but this is the one I'm looking for, which is Ed Waters. So this is a guy who came and he interviewed us for a newspaper, and that's his picture. So I have his picture right there, and then in the PDF is scanned in, and that's his business card. So that's how easy I can keep track of my business cards. So yeah, most of us had, well, I used to, I don't anymore, but most of us have a business card sort of stack with a rubber band wrapped around it, which doesn't really do you much good. So this replaces your Rolodex and replaces everything else. So yes, you can scan your business cards in there, you can scan contracts, you can scan basically anything you want can get into there. Jan, thanks for reminding me about the color coding. It's like, what is that, all that color coding? You can see the color coding is in there. Well, there's a lot of system setups that you have right here that you can go, and these are called topics, and that's what's here. You see letters are gray, and marketing is green, and employee is red, and office is yellow. Well, how did that get in there? Well, you can set up your topics right here, and you can edit the colors that you want to, and then you can add topics, you can delete topics or make them inactive or whatever, and then that will change the colors of them. At first, when we first set it up, we thought that would be really, really useful and help us and all this kind of stuff. In the long run, I found that it's not really all that useful. It doesn't help me find my information that much faster. I rely on keywords, but everybody's different, and so you might be different in that way. You might want to use them as colors, but that's how you set up your colors. How does this whole thing? How do I learn how to use KnowItAll? Well, first off, you learn by using first. It's not like Clip. It's very, very easy to get started. Very easy. You just install it and you start adding your Clip, or you start adding your information just immediately. That's the first thing you can do. It's very easy to get started, and that's probably the best way for you to learn how to use it. The second way to learn how to use it is here, and a lot of you don't even know these exist, but we've got video tutorials right here which tell you how to do things and actually walk you through. They have screenshots. It's like this webinar. Screenshots are talking to you, and they're telling you how to add a new article, how to do standard searches, additional searches, attaching existing documents, emailing a contact, etc. All this information is in here, and you can just go right to it, and you can click on it, and it shows you again how it works. Plus, this webinar will be available on our website as well. So just make sure that you know where to get that information. Is right under Help, Tutorials, and it's great. I mean, that's really the way to do it. But just start playing with it and start doing stuff. You can't go wrong. You're not going to enter a wrong piece of information. You will always be able to enter the right information. So let me show you an example of something I've been working on. I told you that I set up a new computer, right? So new computer. I set up a new computer. Well, the last time I went through this, I have how do you transfer this, but this one right here is the one. The last time I went through setting up a new computer, I created this KnowItAll article because I thought I do not want to go through this again. So what I have here is if I'm setting up a new computer, these are my notes. And see, I even have question marks, not sure what to do next. So I'm going to find that out and then add that into it. But at least I have this much information, which starts me in the right direction. And then I have over here, this is all the things that I need to set up. And where it is, like Visual Source Safe, it's on the P over here, the C Kia article on how to do it. So right there I have a cross-reference that says, here's how you do it. Add a link to this. Make sure you do that. Make sure you do the next thing. This is where you find it. The Adobe Acrobat Reader, here's where you can find it, and etc. So all this information makes it so easy for me to set up my computer again right off the bat. And I just keep track. I'll keep a folder open for it, and I'll just start entering information into it. Computer XP. Let's see what comes up with that, because I think I started one. Yeah, here's the XP. So I have my service code. You know, the necessary information is on there. Service code, admin, what's the name of it, etc. is on that. So that is my. That's how I keep track of my. Of information. So basically there's all this information that you can go and you just keep on going. Let's see. Can I transfer clip customers into KnowItAll without retyping? Yes, but it's a two-step process. You have to export it to a file, and then you import it from KnowItAll. We haven't made a direct import-export out of that. And this is also we have a KnowItAll with the copyright 87 to 06. Is there a newer one? You get updated automatically as you in KnowItAll when we transfer information or we send updates out there. The copyright screen might not have been updated. That's just our fault that we didn't give it the newest name. Jan says, can I buy a version for home? Yes, you can, and the pricing on it is very, very reasonable. I think a single user version is only $49, but you know, we can look at that Kia price, and that brings it up, and we have this is let's see, Kia price list, and I think it's $49 for a single user. Well, we have the Kia Publishing KnowItAll. Sure, okay. Anyway, but yes, you can talk to us about it. You can send us a question. Here it is. Kia Home version is $69. So if you buy it, mention the webinar, we'll give you the discount to $55.20. So yes, you can buy it for home, and I'm telling you the type of stuff that goes in there. I also scan in. I have a tendency of scanning in manuals. You know, you'll buy some little thing about your watch or something, and it shows this little tiny writing and this little piece of paper that you have to unfold, and then you say, okay, how am I going to remember how to change this watch time when daylight savings time comes along? Well, I just scan it into KnowItAll and then throw the piece of paper away because I don't really need it. Okay, I work on a network. Would I install Kia on the server on each of the user's computers? No, you install KnowItAll once on your server, and for example, this one right here is in the S drive. It's on our server, and then all you have to do is you go. Let me show you how this is done. You go over here, and again, we have tutorials on this, but you're here now. So let's go to. It's called SSI Kia. Here it is, KnowItAll, and under the KnowItAll, you're going to have a folder called Client. Okay, notice that folder. It's called Client. Inside that folder, you're going to have a program called setup.exe. That's all you do. Is from the new computer that you're trying to get a link over to KnowItAll in, you navigate down to your KnowItAll, and you go into the client folder, and then you double click on the setup, and it will put a KnowItAll icon on that desk, and then tie that user into KnowItAll, and they'll be able to use it. Multi-user, you're limited on the number of users you can set up, but I think any multi-user gets 5 users by default. So let me tell you what KnowItAll has done for me. I feel like it's released me from the shackles of being the know-it-all. I no longer have to be the one to be answering all of the questions and keeping track of everything that's going on. It's given me mental relaxation. I know that I can put information in there, and I don't have to remember anything anymore. It's so much easier. For example, even this computer, setting this new computer up, and there's all this stuff that you want to remember when you're setting a new computer up, and it's sort of like it flies past you, and you have to remember it, and it's just so much more relaxing when you know that you can enter it in, and that information is not going to get lost. It makes it so much easier to train new employees. It's amazing how easy it is for me to take a new employee and drop them in a chair and say, please do this and do this. It takes me less than 2 minutes to show them how to use KnowItAll, and once they're in there, boom, they're working, and it's so much easier. It's made me much more efficient. I'm probably 60% more productive than I was before, and that's not a lie. I feel like I can take on the world. Just keep on piling more work on me because I can handle it now. It used to be I would get maxed out information-wise, and I just can't do that anymore. And it releases me from the I can't fire them because they know too much syndrome. And those of you who are business owners probably know what I'm talking about. But there are times when you have an employee and they know so much about your business that you find, even though they've got a cruddy attitude and they don't, and they know it, they know that you can't fire them, and they're just, ugh. So I don't have that anymore because everything's in KnowItAll. All my information is there, and I have no need to do anything. No need to keep somebody if they're not good for my company. I'm not going to keep them. There's no reason for it. Okay, so that's some of the things that it's done for me, and the way it's helped me. Let's go to some of these questions that I have. Okay, is there auto backup? Roger, no, there's not an auto backup per se, but we are right now. We have an account with iDrive, which is an online automated backup, and we can give you the name. Our release name so that you can use that, and you just mark KnowItAll as one of the folders that should be backed up. But yes, absolutely, that's what you need to do. I am entering too much info zone. I'm entering the too much info zone, but are the topics shown on the main page user defined or by the administration? Ken, yes, they're user defined, and so you can TMZ. I like that, the TMZ zone. You define these as to whatever you want to do. When they're shipped, when KnowItAll is shipped to you, you first install it. There aren't any, and then you can add as many as you want. Can KnowItAll be used on a PDA or cell phone? No, it's not a mobile device yet. Someday it will be, but no, right now it's here. So you would have to be able to access it via a computer of some sort. Any other questions that you might have? It's a fantastic product, and I know we invented it ourselves, etc., and we have a patent on it. Yeah, okay, fine. But this is a fantastic product, and those of you who are out there who might have sat through this and have been using it for a while, just give me a couple of comments of what you think. How has it helped you, or has it helped you? And then I can read those to the group. So, but for us, it has been so good for our company, so good for me personally, and for my wife also. She says she can't live without it. She's kind of computer phobic. I had somebody I was talking to yesterday. They said, "Well, I don't want to complicate my life anymore." And I said, "You know what? KnowItAll is going to uncomplicate your life, because it's going to start keeping track of stuff for you that you don't have to." Roger has a question. Says, "Can you access the info while you're away from the office over the internet?" Yes, if you use Go to My PC or a remote connection or something along those lines, and we're happy to walk you through some of that. We can't obviously do everything, but Go to My PC is a wonderful product. Works really well, and that gives you access to KnowItAll from anywhere. You can also just make a copy onto your laptop if you want to and take it. So, yes, Roger, I'm sorry. It'll be there. The next question, if it was accessible on the internet, the next question would be, how do I make sure that nobody else gets to it? And that's the other question. But what I do when I go on a trip, I have access through remote access to my desktop constantly. But also when I go on a trip, I just make a copy and drop it onto my laptop so that I can look stuff up. There's actually a synchronize function here that you can actually have KnowItAll on a laptop and on your desktop, and you can make changes in both of them, and it will synchronize the two of them back together. So that's a pretty powerful piece of software right there. All right. So anything else? I got just about a minute or so. And can you share from office to office? Well, certainly anything that's connected can share back and forth. So I might not understand exactly how your question is, but it's like I said, it's a great product. It has certainly helped me. Different locations, well, the different locations need to be either connected somehow or connected every once in a while, and then you can run a synchronize on them. Yes. But you can share, you can export articles back and forth. Like let's say one of these, let's say I wanted to export this article instead of just emailing it, and I didn't even talk about this button right here or this button. But if I email, then it's just sending a plain text email out to somebody. But if I export it, what it does is it actually makes a copy of this article right here and sends it to that other copy of KnowItAll. So then they're able to have their own copy of that. It's sort of like publishing, but it's on a little bit smaller basis. But that's available for you as well. All right, a couple more questions, and then we'll get that. How do you import your list of contacts? You can import them. You go to import functions right here, and you can import them from Outlook if you want to. If you want to import them from contacts from a file, Vidal, I guess you're talking about your list of contacts from Clip. You would import them from a file, and that's that would be an Excel sheet or a CSV, comma delimited, and that would be that would allow you to go ahead and bring them in from one to another. Let me see if I've got do we have a tutorial on importing? Let's see, importing. We might not have a tutorial, but it is in the manual as to how to do it, and we can also help you. I mean, you've got support with us, so just call us up and we can help you with that. Okay, well, your success is our business. Thank you very much for being with me during this hour. And if there's anything we can do for you, just email me. My email address is Dave, D-A-V-E, @clip.com. I think KnowItAll is a great product, and I think that once you start using it, you'll start seeing how much easier it is and how much more relaxing it is for you to run your business. And remember, your business is your product, so unless you get everything documented in an easy-to-find manner, this is not creating a bunch of documents that sit on a shelf, but this is creating living documents that can be changed constantly. You're going to end up with problems, so you need to do that. And KnowItAll is certainly one of the ways to do that. So thank you very much. And again, remember, your success is our business.